and I also am a co-creator and project coordinator of the Miami-Dade Department of Transportation and Public Works JMH Healthcare Systems One Blood Inc. program by the name of Heroes Helping Heroes. It's a COVID-19 project. It's a project that was created to be reactive and proactive and designed to protect frontline workers.
Thank you so much. Director Michael Fernandez.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michael Fernandez. I am the director for the Department of Solid Waste Management for Miami-Dade County. And I have 13 years now in the county and about 21, 22 years in the waste industry. So I started in the private sector, but we provide service to 9 municipalities in the county as well as the unincorporated area. So if you have one of our blue cards or green cards, that's us. We're picking you up. So thank you for having us.
Thank you so much, Director Fernandez. Like I said, each panel member will have approximately 7 minutes to present the best practices. As far as the unsung heroes is concerned, the fact that those people are those who actually have been going like above and beyond, but receive little and no recognition. And they do that regardless of the time of the year, regardless of the pandemic that we are in. Please allow me to present our first panelist, whose vision is particularly to work in partnership with citizens and the community at large to actually make a difference in the life of others. He is well known for his laugh while he is doing an outstanding job as a leader, as an administrator. And this person is nobody else than Assistant Director Derek Gordon.
Oh, well, thank you for that, for that very nice introduction, Seraphin. I really appreciate that. So I just wanted to go over some of the items that we did. Is very challenging year of 2020 for the entire country, of course. In our little section of the world, transportation, wanted to just get some people familiar with what it took in order to keep our services going. And Franklin will kind of detail out some of the things that we did exactly for his group of people, the bus operators at our department. But for us, oh man, Friday the 13th, March 13th, 2020, I will not forget anytime soon. That was a day everything kind of culminated in this activity known as our COVID response. So we began actually over a month and a half long of daily meetings with our director and probably about 20 other staff members, trying to decide what we're going to do day in and day out. And I mean, it went through 33 straight days of that. So Saturdays and Sundays, we're all trying to figure out the best approach to take to protect our employees and protect our passengers and to keep the service going all the while. So that was number one, daily staff meetings. We also began to clean our buses a lot more. We used to disinfect like 120 buses per night. That went up to all the buses used every day in service 7 days a week, because we had a contract cleaning, disinfecting our vehicles at least 5 days a week. So that was expanded. We also had to identify all the employees who had traveled in and out the country to get us in line with the CDC and identify all those people coming back in so they could follow the proper quarantine rules and procedures that were put into place at the time to protect all the other employees at our department. Oh man, we suspended all types of disciplinary actions within our workforce. We put a lot of those items on hold unless it was something very egregious that we had to deal with. That kind of stuff went to the background. I was so happy when we got a notification from our HR department that we contacted our employees who were over 65 years of age for which we had quite a few, to allow them to go home under the governor's orders to avoid having any public contact. We did that for quite a few months, as I recall, somewhere around 5 to 6 months before we even allowed those people to come back to work. So we took that step to protect our employees. We implemented backdoor boarding and free fare for our folks, for our passengers. The backdoor boarding to allow people to enter through the rear door so they wouldn't have to come in contact with the bus operators, and free fare, which helped everybody in the community that they had lost their job. And they wouldn't have to be up to the front of the bus congregating in that regard. We started to purchase a lot more outdoor tables. We purchased tables and tables and tables for our 3 different locations so we can separate our own employees so they can meet the requirement of social distance in the facility around the clock. We also began disinfecting, which we hadn't never done, disinfecting buses out in the community. So we first went to 6 locations, then we expanded it to 10, then 12, now it's 14 locations where we disinfect buses that are still in service out in the field, picking up people. Then we got onto the list of identifying all those who were positive and reached out to help our employees who turned out to be positive and went through all those various protocols. We also implemented standby buses out in the field because then the social distancing policy, which we limited picking up people to only, at first it was 16 people per bus. Then we expanded it to 19 people per bus, but we never had enough buses. So we employed the contractor. We got help from private contractors to come in, and we're up to 103 private buses now from our contractors to help us try to maintain some social distance using their vehicles on at least 30 of our routes currently. We also had to, unfortunately, suspend routes. We suspended 9 other routes using buses that would have been operating on those routes to add more service to our existing routes, just all and to maintain social distancing. We mandated facial coverings. We did that a long time ago before the presidential order, again, following the CDC guidelines. We had a few issues with that, but the police has been wonderful. Our security team has been wonderful, helping us throughout the community with a very few issues that people who did not want to wear facial coverings. We also hired this group to disinfect our buses. That we use a lot of buses in the morning. They come back in the afternoons, late morning to the afternoon. They completely thermal heat treat and fog buses in midday in order to treat those buses before they go back out into the community again. So we've done a number of things in order to try to keep our buses disinfected. We also got help from our public works side of the house. And we had to create some brackets to install free gallon-size hand sanitizers. So anyone who rode our buses can go and use those free gallon hand sanitizers. Because at one point it was hard to even get hand sanitizers. I know everyone can get them now, but when we first started this, there was a major feat by our director and other folks in our staff, Mr. Berto Parhus, and helped out big time trying to get all the items we needed. And Brown will talk about some more of those things. One of the big deals we did was fully enclosed compartment for our bus operators too. That took a lot in-house design to get that done. And lastly, I would say we have begun the process of installing air cleaners. We call it air ionizers on our buses. The entire bus fleet will be fitted with them. We're up to like 540 now, but we're gonna go through the whole 761, and it effectively kills the virus on the buses that is installed. So we're very proud of the steps we've taken to try to reduce the COVID threat to our employees and our passengers.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gordon. Thank you to all participants. Actually, the chat is open. You may pose your question on the chat, but we will address them at the end of the presentation. It takes leadership to advance, to be an unsung hero. Sometimes unsung heroes do things just because they are leaders. In fact, it takes, perfect practice make perfect, right? Now, it takes an hero to actually teach another one to become a hero as well. That's leadership. Before you know it, you become a civic engagement officer in the community without having to go to any places, to any school, to do whatever you want to do as a leader. So that's where we have our 24-year veteran bus operator come from as the hero helping hero. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, let me present Mr. Brown, 24-year bus operator with the Department of Transportation and Public Works. Mr. Brown.
He has to unmute himself.
Mute, Mr. Brown.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Thank you very much, Mr. Bernard. And I would just want to thank everyone that's listening and watching today for the opportunity to be able to share some of the things that we've done to try to protect the operators. I just want to follow up on a little bit what Mr. Gordon has said. In addition to what he said, there's actually protection that he put forward on the buses, but there's something that we devised, a first of a kind program that has never been implemented before anywhere in the nation that protected the drivers off the bus. So let me just follow up. Some of the things that he mentioned was the protection on the bus. And in addition to what he said, we also added hand sanitizers for all the operators, which was very important because we were constantly touching high traffic areas, distributing of gloves that we got on a daily basis, which was very useful for us as well. Hand sanitizing wipes, so when we got into the bus in the morning, we got to wipe off the high traffic areas that normal operators have to touch, like buttons and steering wheels and things like that. Along with that, we had the disinfecting of the buses. I think he mentioned that before, but that was also very important because, of course, with so many people coming on and off the bus, there's a potential of transmitting the infection throughout the bus. And another thing that they also put in place for us was, of course, during the pandemic, a lot of the places that we normally use the restrooms were closed. So we actually coordinated through management with the police and fire department to allow us to use the restrooms, which was extremely important because we had no way to go. The social distancing was also important. We added 20 by 20 tents on the outside of the garages, so a lot of the drivers could have that social distancing in place, especially when it came to eating, because we have to take off the mask when we want to eat. So that was really important as well, that we would be able to eat on the outside and not have to worry about maybe catching the infection from one person or the next. The distribution of masks was another thing that was really important. We got one mask per day, and that became like 3 times a week at some point, and then down to 1 mask per day. Another thing was placing portalets at the end of the line for a lot of these routes that just didn't have a way to have drivers use the restroom. So portalets were put in place, and the KN95 mask was very important as well. And we kind of had drivers that were using that like on a daily basis, and we kind of wanted to limit that through putting out a special notice and just kind of warning drivers, hey, don't use that too much because it has the potential of holding everything in as far as the virus is concerned. You're just gonna have to use or refresh your mask on a regular basis. Another thing we had was face shields because we handle a lot of passengers that are accessible passengers, wheelchair passengers. So we were given, I believe at one time we were given 2 face shields to help protect us in case we came in contact with wheelchair passengers and had to come face to face with them. And lastly, we had turtle masks that were issued to us to help protect us on the bus. So that's the protection on the bus, but even just as important, we had to devise a way, after seeing the rate of infections in transit, we came up with a program, and the name of the program is the Heroes Helping Heroes program. The program was started in August of 2020, which allowed us to bring together a collective partnership with JMH Healthcare Systems, the Miller School of Medicine, and also One Blood Inc. So the creation, this partnership was the creation of a proactive and reactive team of personnel for the purpose of recruiting COVID-19 employee convalescent plasma and blood donations to help potential future infected employees. And the participation of the convalescent plasma trials program was something that had never been done before in any entity. So what was it all about? So if Mr. Bernard, I think I provided a chart that I would like everyone to see on how this program was just proactive in the preventative stages, and also we had a treatment stage. Do you have that chart available if we can share that with everyone?
Dr. Caraballo, could you please put that chart in for us, please?
Well, if they're having trouble finding it, I can tell you a little bit about how the chart was set up. So basically, there was a part of the program, and there still is, where we have a treatment option. So if an employee thought that he or she were infected with the virus, there was early diagnosis, either a mild, moderate, or severe disease. We actually coordinated with JMH, in which the person could go in, or the employee could go in and receive convalescent plasma treatments. And of course, there was a 50-50 chance of you getting the real plasma that had COVID antibodies, and also 50-50 chance of getting the placebo. So 50-50, of course, is better than 0, because we've been told that, from what we've learned, that convalescent plasma is one of the best ways to get treatment for the disease. So we were given access to this plasma through a program that was from Johns Hopkins University, and we were allowed to use that convalescent plasma for our employees. One of the big things that got this whole program started was I kind of brought the idea to Mr. Gordon and asked him if we could try to start a plasma bank to help the infected employees if that were ever the case. And as we quickly found out, the federal government does not allow hoarding for a specific group of people. So we were allowed to coordinate with and JMH and become a part of the study. So that would give us access to the plasma. Another part of this program, in the proactive side of it, or preventative side of it, was the vaccine trials. So we actually had access to the vaccine trials way ahead of anyone else. So transit employees were given special priorities, and there was a contact number that we could call. The location was listed, and the specific action that we could take was also part of the chart. So we had also access to hydroxychloroquine. That was a part of our program and still is. But since the beginning of the vaccine now being distributed to the community as a whole, the vaccine trial portion is over. So that right there was something that really helped us out. One of the main people that really helped us as far as the doctors are concerned is Dr. Yan Wu, MD at University of Miami. She was very instrumental in getting the program started, along with the full backing of Assistant Director Gordon.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brown. Impressive. So I trust this program will continue, and heroes will be helping heroes, right?
Yes. I just want to say one more thing, Mr. Bernard.
Go right ahead.
Thank you. The one biggest part of this is actually plasma donation, and also plasma. In order for us to receive that plasma for that program, it had to be donated from the people up in New York that got COVID. So this whole program is based upon giving and receiving. So we look forward to expanding this program to all departments in the county, because unfortunately, having a large number of employees makes us very vulnerable, but it also creates a larger pool of volunteers that we can collect convalescent plasma from and be very beneficial to the community as a whole. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh, thanks to you. It's for us to thank you. Well, the expectancy theory stresses the importance of clearly communicating to employees the linkage between job performance and rewards. Being a hero, sometime at work, you do need rewards. The next speaker is tasked to firmly establish this linkage, overseeing all components that come with waste collection and disposal operation. Imagine not having your waste picked up for 1 week. The person behind this linkage is nobody else than Department of Solid Waste Management Director, Mr. Michael G. Fernandez. Mr. Fernandez.
Thank you, Mr. Bernard. That was really nice. And yeah, missed the garbage for a week. We're gonna have other problems, right? So, I wanted to share a presentation I have here, so I'm gonna go ahead and share it, PowerPoint, and I'll go ahead and talk through this PowerPoint. Let's see if we can pull this up. All right, let me know if you see it.
Yes.
Good. Okay.
Yes.
So here's COVID response, COVID-19 response. Derek, I forgot it was Friday the 13th, huh? Yeah, that was feels like a blur. So yeah, at the beginning of all this, we had to start. The declaration back then was March 12th, but I didn't realize it was March 13th. Everything started like unraveling. But we were one of those essential businesses that had to keep running. I mean, you can't miss the garbage. I just gotta say that, because if you think a pandemic is a problem, leave the garbage on the street and you'll have a bigger problem. So a couple things, we do provide, like I mentioned earlier, services to 9 municipalities and UMSA as well, but that equates to about 350,000 households. So we go in twice a week, pick up the garbage. We make millions of touches to these homes every day. It's probably one of the few county services that you physically have to go out there every day and go do, right? Physically touch and pick up, because I don't know any other way that the garbage is going to go away, right? We do have disposal facilities throughout the county. We manage landfill at our South Bay landfill down to 48th Street in Homestead. We have one in the north end next to Hard Rock. I'm going Joe Robbie Stadium, but it's Hard Rock Stadium now. And by the way, we have this beautiful waste energy facility right behind me, where we actually process the majority of our garbage into renewable energy. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but we actually incinerate our waste, we reduce it, we incinerate it, and we make power out of it. It's a beautiful concept. So we have that too. And we also do mosquitoes too. Mosquito control falls under solid waste as well. So mosquito operations have to continue, right? Because that was interesting too, by the way. During the pandemic, especially in the peak of it, we saw more mosquito complaints. And what I realized was there's more people out. People were walking. There wasn't much to do, so people were just out and about. Everybody was riding bike. I mean, try to find a bike at Walmart. It was hard to find a bike. Bikes were all sold out. So it was interesting concept that there was more complaints coming in from mosquito, issues because there was more people out where that wasn't really happening before. So interesting stuff with the pandemic. We took proactive approaches right away. Make sure our staff was safe, issued masks, gloves, sanitizer, and I think Mr. Brown or Mr. Gordon said, I mean, it was hard to come by. I mean, everybody was trying to find this personal protective equipment everywhere. Luckily, we were able to find and stock. We had to stock up because you didn't know when was the next time you were going to be able to get more. So we were able to get the equipment needed for our staff. We started practicing social distancing. I mean, this department here is a big family, and we all like to be around each other and just talk great stuff. And we couldn't do that anymore. It was really a culture shock for all of us. So we had to kind of keep our distance from everybody. One of the things we also took advantage of was working from home right away. One of the things we started doing is start getting laptops for everybody, especially our administrative staff. Even though we pick up the garbage, we have procurement, we have human resources, accounting, so on and so forth. So that was a function. Rather than everybody being at the office, we said, hey, we need to spread everybody out, like go home, work from home. We started doing that, and it really helped. It helped us through the pandemic. I'll be honest, that working from home with the administrative staff really, really helped. A lot of other changes we had to make at our facilities. So we have these neighborhood trash and recycling centers. We got 13 throughout the county. Basically, these are facilities that our customers come. We scan your license and they drop off the vegetation or bulky waste, any type of furniture. It's a great thing, but we had to protect our employees and protect them and protect the public as well. So we started implementing face masks. The public had to come in with, if not, you can't come into our facility. You had to wear a face mask. So that was one of the things we implemented, as well as our staff started changing the way they did things. We used to grab the license, scan it through this kiosk machine, and have them come right in to make sure you're one of our customers. We stopped doing that. We actually start scanning through your window. We'll ask the customer, hey, keep your window up, and we can actually scan right through the window. We didn't even know we could do that. Now we're doing it, and it worked well. Again, just making sure we have that protection. It's all about protection. We started sanitizing. I know our transit folks started doing the same thing. We started sanitizing our trucks. We gave sanitizer to the sanitizing wipes to our drivers. They started sanitizing the trucks inside out, and it helped. The good thing is our drivers stay pretty much in the same truck day in, day out. It's like their office basically. So unless something happens, they have to pick up a spare truck. But for the most part, they're in the same truck. So we didn't have that constant in and out where maybe somebody could be positive and then transmit or something like that. So that worked well. But we took we made sure we were being safe and making sure that these trucks were sanitized on a daily basis. We also had our disposal facilities as well. I mean, here's one of our front end loaders. It seems like this is West Transfer Station. It looks like right off of 72nd Coral Way. But this, I mean, we're gloves, masks, constantly cleaning the office space inside these facilities. I mean, you can smell the Clorox when you walk in. I mean, that's great because it's cleaner than ever, and we're making sure our employees are safe. Enforcement, that's another component of solid waste. We do code enforcement. So we had to change our habits in doing things there, where we used to issue citations or post it at the home or kind of try to have that interaction with customers. We try avoiding that interaction. We started mailing the citations or warnings for instance, like this illegal dumping, rather than hand deliver things like that. So we tried avoiding that. The permit process for any haulers that service accounts in Miami-Dade County, we set up a Dropbox, and we started doing things over the internet rather than face-to-face visits. Try to again avoid that interaction with people. Mosquito control. Here's one of our mosquito control inspectors. Funny thing is with people being at home, everybody's curious to see what we do. So they like to walk right behind you while you're doing your inspection. We're like, hey, we need you to keep your distance. I mean, especially if, you're going around, trying to spray some larvicide or insecticide. So, but anyhow, we try to avoid that interaction with folks. And again, our folks are men and women of this department are so friendly and they want to interact, but it's hard. You just can't, right? With this whole pandemic. But good thing now, we've kind of adjusted to this new norm. We have the mask. We've kind of keep our distance. So we've adapted over time. Some of the expenses we've incurred. The biggest expense right here, where it says disposal charges. Interesting enough, with everybody working from home and school, homeschooling and everything happening, the garbage shifted. It shifted from these commercial places like schools and businesses to the curb, where we really don't deal with the commercial business. The private sector, like a waste management, waste connect, like private companies deal with that. We deal with residential, but we saw close to a 20% increase in volume at the curbside. So people were taking home food, working from home, buying on Amazon, and we saw recycling skyrocket, cardboard especially. So interesting stuff how the pandemic kind of made this adjustment in the culture. Other things we started participating that we never used to do were birthday parades. We started getting calls for, hey, can you come down my street when you pick up the garbage and honk the horn? And it's my kid's birthday. Hey, why not? Let's do it. I mean, it was a great way of like giving back to the community during these tough times. And we took pride in doing it. And here's one of our beautiful trucks has a birthday thing on the side door. So kids love garbage trucks. And it was a really great thing to give back to the community. We started doing site visits. I've been out here the whole time through the whole pandemic as the leader of this department. I think you got to be there. And, I joined forces with our union representatives, our leadership. We went out there, visit our men and women, and, just said thank you for being out there and just continuing on doing what you're doing. I mean, this was great. So here are some pictures of us out there. I mean, there's Mayor Cava there visiting at one of our sites, saying hi to everybody. But I think it meant a lot for the men and women just to see leadership out there, that we weren't just working from home. We were out there. I mean, I'm in the heart of the operations. I'll work in an office in the operations, make sure I see everybody. But I think it means a lot. You just got to be there in the mix of things. Lessons learned. A few lessons learned. I mean, I've dealt with many hurricanes in my career and emergency situations like Zika. This was different. This was like, I like to say, be prepared to make decisions on the fly. It's like ready, fire, aim. It's like you just gotta go with it and try. I don't think we really you could prepare for a pandemic, and now we could because we've experienced one. But this was something out of no one ever dealt with, right? Be proactive. Always have a good inventory of PPE, personal protective equipment. Make sure you have enough to outweigh the storm, right? Weather the storm. And lastly, plan already for contingencies. The great thing is, our staff is pretty much all intra-promotional advancements. And we were able to move people around if needed, where maybe you may have been driving a garbage truck one day and now you're operating a piece of equipment. Guess what? You can operate that garbage truck still. So we had that, I like to say, that deep bench that we can move people around and do things. And we thought right off the bat, I told everybody, hey, I want a plan. I want to see who worked where in case we have to start moving people. And we had it all planned out, ready to go. Luckily, we never got to that point. There was no interruption in garbage service throughout this entire ordeal. We continue providing recycling, garbage, the whole 9 yards. Everything happened, mosquito control, everything. And that's pretty much the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Director Fernandez. The participants, the notes that I've been receiving in the chat is that, it's great collaboration for you, with the community, with transit, with the community, and the heroes that are working out there that we don't know of also. Now it's appear that most of the media and public in general overlook the work of solid waste during this pandemic. What do you think about it?
Mute. So I think what happens is I think we do such a great job, and people take it for granted, the garbage service. So think about it. You don't have to call us. You just you bring your card out, leave it out. When you get home from work or later on that day, it's garbage is gone, and you just bring the card back in. It's like a ritual already, right? It's routine. So I think they take it for granted. So it just happens, right? Unless you have to call us for something, that's the only time you think about the garbage, which is a good thing, I guess. But I think they take it. A lot of people take it for granted, and there's a lot of logistics that happen behind the scenes to get that garbage from the curb to a final destination. There's so much things behind the scenes that happen to make sure it's taken care of in an environmental good way. So. I think that's the thing. I think it's just everything's taken granted because we do such a great job.
But if the work was not completed, you would have heard from the media, from the public.
Yeah, I think yeah. The first thing you leave it for a week, and you leave the garbage even for one day, you'll get a call. So yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. The problem is compounded by the fact that some of the employees in both solid waste and transit could potentially interact with the public and then come back and interact with employees that are working in the plant or the shop where this vehicle come back to spend the night. At transit, I know they are like the bus hustler. We have at solid waste, sometimes this vehicle come back. How do we address this? Mr. Gordon?
Okay, so make sure I'm off mute. Yes, so that was a very important factor, what you just mentioned. We were concerned about people going out there, having to perform their route work, coming in contact with so many different people, groups of people, and then kind of being concerned about them coming back. So we did, like Mr. Brown mentioned, we started giving out masks. And Mr. Fernandez, he said it true. When you got something, you needed to hold on to it. We didn't know we were going to get more masks. Some of our employees got upset. Oh, why are you only giving us one mask? Why are you only giving us one pair of gloves? Why are you only giving us one wipe? Because we didn't know about the supply. So when people go out there into the community, in order for them to come back, they had to have these masks on. And then we were desperately trying to buy the thermometers. We finally got some thermometers and batteries and backup thermometers so we can test everybody on their way to work. When you first arrive to work, we have to check your temperature now and ensure you have a mask on before you come into our property. So when you leave or when you return, it's the same temperature testing and making sure you're wearing your proper mask.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gordon. Would you like to chime in, Director Fernandez?
Sure. No, and just to piggyback on what Mr. Gordon was saying, we had to start getting creative too with the mask. It's like we started saying, hey, we need to find reusable masks because these N95s were flying right off the shelves, right? And we started looking. I'm also the director of the. I sit on the board. I'm actually a board member for the Solid Waste Association of North America for the Florida chapter, and I also I'm a director on the board on the technical board for collection and transferring of waste. And I was able to start making some phone calls, and they were able to get us thousands of masks of reusable masks. They sent it right to me as a gift. I mean, to help us out because they knew the importance of having to get the waste picked up. And then from there, we started developing these beautiful masks, and nice masks that say solid waste, and making it something maybe like a nice image to wear, and everybody was wearing their mask. That was the priority, is making sure everybody had the protection they needed to be out there. And that was my number one as the leader of this department. The priority for this department is making sure our men and women were safe.
Thank you so much. Anything, Mr. Brown?
Well, you said Mr. Brown or Gordon?
Mr. Brown.
Okay.
Mr.
I just wanted to add the importance of also the ability to social distance in tight quarters. So we also had an issue because we have drivers' rooms. So the tents were extremely important. In fact, I can tell you that most of the people at the garages now don't even eat on the inside. That's something that really was important to us because there's always some people that really are kind of like have more fear than others, but rightfully so. But I'd like to say that was one of the things that I really thought was important, that we be able to just kind of congregate on the outside.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brown. There is a question for Mr. Gordon. Mr. Gordon, what are the plans as we transition back to normal service and revenues? This is a question from Del Macmillan.
Okay, so what we do is we measure our ridership daily. We're trying to find out where people are coming back to. Before the pandemic hit, we were transporting roughly around 180,000 people per day. It fell as low as 33,000 people per day and has gradually and consistently come back up somewhere to around 110,000 people per day now. So as that happens, we're contemplating which routes to reinstate of the 9 that's been suspended. We are currently looking at the 836 express route to reinstate within a couple of weeks, but we're also evaluating where the ridership is. So there are plans to bring back more of our suspended service and add more service to some existing routes. There's also has been put forward about when we're may start charging fare again, and when the big question for us is when we can go back to normal and not limit how many people are riding on each bus. Because as I mentioned, on our regular sized buses, we're only allowed 19 people per bus. On the articulated buses, 60-foot buses, we allow 36 people. So unfortunately, we have instances where we have to leave some people standing, and nobody likes to be left standing and waiting at a bus stop, just waiting on the next bus. But then we send some other buses there. But that's the big question for all of us. When are we going to get back to some normalcy? And we're all looking at the news every day, contemplating when we can do that.
Thank you so much. One additional question. The question is, I'll start with you, Mr. Gordon. How did you get to your position? What advice do you give to the young folks on the line right now watching this conference that are aspiring to be public administrators in terms of how to get to where you are professionally?
Oh, okay. So
45 seconds.
45 seconds. I say be dedicated to public service and do your best always, whether someone is watching you or not. You need to pursue education, of course, but you also need to be committed to what you're doing and doing your best always, and it will come to you.
Wonderful. Mr. Brown?
As project coordinator,
how did you get to your position, and what advice you would give to those young folks watching this conference right now?
What I would tell them as project coordinator, I just want to do something good that was for the overall good of the organization. So I would suggest that they always look to do something that can be beneficial to all people in the organization. And that has gotten us from where we were before to where we are today with this program. Just wanting to do the greater good.
Thank you so much. Ms. Director Fernandez, I learned when you came to the county in the landfill, everybody was watching what you are doing. You were just like a perfectionist in the landfill when you came 13 years ago. although you were in the private sector before you came to the county, how did you get to your position? What advice you would give to those students watching the conference as they aspire to be a public administrator as well?
Okay, so being over 20 years ago, I started as a temp labor. Just continue working hard. Take care of your team. Make sure as you build and get into supervisor capacity, just take care of you. Make sure your team is good. You take care of your people. Stay dedicated. Have that vision. Keep that vision. Always have vision, and be a good leader. And don't forget where you came from. Basically, don't forget where you came from, where you started. Because to this day, and Derek, and I've told Derek and Franklin, I still have my CDL B license. I still have my license to drive a truck if I want to.
So do I.
Me too. Me too.
So honestly, just work hard, be dedicated, and and just be yourself. I mean, don't let positions change the way you are, and take care of your people. That's the advice I have.
A Class B license was required for me when I got in the county, starting with transit. I still have my Class B license. Now, we are running out of time. I would like to give each one of you 30 minutes for closing arguments.
How much?
Starting with Assistant Director Derek Gordon.
How much time do we have?
30 seconds.
Oh, 30 seconds. Michael is so sharp and so polished that I just thought he started right at the top, man. So, so I just want to say, no, it is being committed to what you're doing. We are all public servants. We are all that. And if you're committed to what you're doing, whether somebody's watching you or not, you will be a professional. You will move into our wonderful county system. The county has a wonderful family. I am so proud to have worked for this county for 33 years. I couldn't have chosen a better career path. It provides opportunity for advancement if you're dedicated and you take your profession seriously. I love this county. Thank you.
In between, let me say, I like this from somebody who made a comment in the chat. It is also important to have empathy towards others. We get into public service to serve others, whether it be directly or indirectly. This is a quote from Jacob Moore. So we have so many comments in the chat. They're all important, but we're running out of time. Mr. Brown, could you close for us, please?
Oh, I just want to say, even though I'm project coordinator here, but my first job is bus operator. So I'm still a bus operator coordinating this project. But I just want to tell everyone that this job as a bus operator is one of the most fulfilling jobs that I've ever had in my entire life. That's why I've lasted so long. I just enjoy helping the community. I enjoy driving, and just creating this project. I just want to tell everyone that whatever you put your mind to it, you can achieve. Just keep at it, and you get good people behind you, develop great relationships, and whatever you want to do in life, you can do it, including a project like this today. So great to, I was going to say, it's so great to have good people around you and surround yourself with good people, positive people.
Thank you so much. We are on overtime. Director Fernandez.
I think we sum it all up. I mean, it's about surrounding yourself around great people, staying dedicated, and and don't forget the people in the back office. I mean, even though we're a very heavy, solid, operational. I mean, we have a lot of support staff behind the scenes, like our procurement staff, our HR staff, that make it happen too. Because without them, none of this comes together. So it's a team effort. And just again, I just wanted to throw that in there. But just again, dedication, be a good leader, and have vision.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gordon, Mr. Brown, Mr. Fernandez. ASPA has a podcast. If you would like to be invited, you may contact Dr. Caraballo, Ms. Alec Baston, or myself. We'll make it happen. Thank you so much.